President Joe Biden did give a speech yesterday reacting to the Supreme Court decision, which, according to Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, puts Trump above the law as a king. Biden had a lot to say about it, including, most importantly, that no one is above the law, even the president, even if the president happens to be Joe Biden, or if it's Trump or whoever. Take a listen.
The presidency is the most powerful office in the world. It's an office that not only tests your judgment, perhaps even more importantly, it's an office that can test your character. Because you not only face moments when you need the courage to exercise the full power of the presidency, you also face moments where you need the wisdom to respect the limits of the power of the office of the presidency. This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. With today's Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity, that fundamentally changed. For all practical purposes, today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent, because the power of the office will no longer be constrained by the law, even including the Supreme Court of the United States. The only limits will be self-imposed by the president alone. This decision today has continued the court's attack in recent years on a wide range of long-established legal principles in our nation.
And if you think that a Supreme Court with 3 Trump picks on it is bad, just wait until you get a Supreme Court with 5 Trump picks on it. Joe Biden continuing in what was a pretty good speech as far as Biden's speeches go, 7:48 p.m., sort of outside the time that people around Biden have said are his best times of day. But really a pretty good speech, and Biden making it clear that he respects the limits of presidential power.
At the outset of our nation, it was the character of George Washington, our first president, that defined the presidency. He believed power was limited, not absolute. And that power always resides with the people, always. Now, over 200 years later, with today's Supreme Court decision, once again, it'll depend on the character of the men and women who hold that presidency that are going to define the limits of the power of the presidency, because the law will no longer do it. I know I will respect the limits of the presidential powers I have for 3.5 years, but any president, including Donald Trump, will now be free to ignore the law. I concur with Justice Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote. So should the American people dissent. I dissent.
Now, there are people who said, oh, it's Biden dementia. He said end of quote. That's how you say that's the end of the quote I'm reading. Biden was supposed to read end of quote. He said, and I quote, he read the quote, and then he said end of quote. It's not really a big deal. But the really big deal here, and I know there's people who are going to be upset. The really big deal here is Hillary Clinton not winning in 2016. We're certainly feeling the consequences of that now, aren't we? And so this is not about going back, although we could go back. The reason this happened, to a great degree, is because Trump defeated Hillary Clinton in 2016. So we now are on the brink of MAGA Supreme Court 2050, dating all the way back to Hillary losing in 2016. If Hillary wins in 2016, we don't have a criminal president who is about to get himself back in the Oval Office. We still have Roe v. Wade. We don't have 3 of 9 Supreme Court justices selected by Trump and potentially 5 of 9 Supreme Court justices selected by Trump. So Joe Biden saying all the right things. He rejects this view of presidential power, but any normal person would react to this ruling and would say, well, if that's what Trump can do, what can Biden legally do now? And it is arguably a very long list of things Biden says he won't do, But after the break, we will discuss that. I can think of no more timely moment to review what is in Project 2025 than right now. We have a free white paper available at davidpakman.com/Project 2025. Download it, read about it, and understand what we saw yesterday from the court, what we are now dealing with as far as Trump goes, related to immunity. It is inextricably connected to what Project 2025 would do and what its adherents and supporters would want to put in place. So check out the free white paper, davidpakman.com/Project 2025. We'll take a quick break, hear from a sponsor or two. It's seeming like our audio problem has been corrected. I'll talk about it more on the bonus show today. After the break, what can Biden now do, given that presidents are immune? Let's say you want to figure out if Trump did use a Nazi slogan in a campaign video, or if it's just a misunderstanding. Ground News is an app and website that gathers news stories from across the world and political spectrum so you can decide for yourself. It's a great tool. I'm happy to be partnering with them for this video. Yes, Trump did in fact use a Nazi slogan in a campaign video he posted, and then he deleted it. On Ground News, I can access almost 200 articles covering the story and see that only 17% of those are right-leaning. No surprise there. Comparing coverage is interesting. Some sources on the left reference his language, comparing him to Hitler, while on the right, RT highlights his explanation of the video, and Israel's Arutz Sheva highlights that he deleted it. The Ground News Blind Spots feature will highlight stories like this that are disproportionately covered by either political side, so you are guaranteed to see the full picture. Sign up through my link for 40% off their Vantage subscription, which gives you access to all of their features. Go to ground.news/Pakman or scan the QR code or click the link in the description.